Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the Core Racing Network. Tonight we are back points racing once again for the Kim's Cups and More Core Xfinity Series, as we are at the unofficial home of Core, Kansas Speedway. This beautiful 1.5 mile tri-oval has played host to several races here in the Core Series, but tonight it's going to play host to race number 9 of the regular season for the series. As last week we got to see the boys get out there and have a little bit of fun and kind of let the hair down. A little bit of heat racing, a little bit of feature racing for the All-Star race for Season 6. But now we get back to the action, and we get back to some important action before we even get to the race. We'll bring up the current standings right now. And the reason we do, because we've got more than enough here for tonight, which means we are splitting it here. Top 30 drivers on qualifying will make tonight's feature field. The rest will go to split number 2 and battle it out to try and get their points over there. But only the top 30 fastest qualifiers here and the qualifying right now are going to make the broadcasted top split field. Carl Hamworth joined in the booth with Jimmy Cover. Not sure if Jimmy's back here yet, but we got 80 laps on tap here tonight. And looks like Jimmy's still not back yet, but again, taking a look here at the qualifying currently, the man on the bubble is James Molyneux, and you see that line, and it looks like already booted down below the line here as Rob Higgs puts in a time, so he is now the man on the bubble. But again, another one drop below the line as it keeps shifting back and forth here. I'm going to try and get the next 5 in line here, so you can at least see, there we go. So you can see where everyone is right there at the cut line. If I can get to a driver above it, there we go. So you can see the drivers right around that cut line. You see right now Graham Connolly above the cut line by a mere, what is that, 7 thousandths of a second.
Very close.
Yes, and Jimmy back here in action and wasting no time here.
I was making all kinds of faces at your car. You just have to check the score.
I know you got the video on. I'm trying not even looking at it.
You're number one.
Not even going to try and look at it. I'm just going to laugh most of the time.
Now you get reactions. No, I'm looking forward to it, Carl. I mean, it's Kansas, man. I mean, Core Kansas, like you said, home track, man. It's and over 40 drivers yet again. So 2 splits here tonight, and who's going to make the big game? And so far, you look down there, and it is Jeff Ryan now on the bubble there for P number 30.
Well, and what's surprising here is the man that I'm sure a lot of fans out there are certainly rooting for him every week, and the man that loves Kansas right now, unless he's got more laps to put in, Kevin Foster will not make tonight's field, as he is down there in 34th position. And unfortunately, with 41 cars here before qualifying, only the top 30 make the field, as looks like the line shifting here one more time as the clock is starting to run now. 15 seconds left. Right now, it is Joe Thomas on that bubble, as he is, again, 1/100th of a second ahead of Jeremy Gainey to make the field here, make the top split. Jeff Ryan looks like he's not going to make the field here tonight, but it looks like all the gold, all the platinum drivers are going to make the top split. The silver drivers not making it currently, and it looks like it's going to be official now as Jeff Ryan, Kevin Foster, and Zane Bierman, the silver drivers, not making it here tonight. But we've got our 30 cars that will make the field. So Jimmy, why don't you give us a rundown of tonight's starting order?
Top 30 here tonight for the Core Xfinity Series at Kansas. It's going to be J.P. Phillips on the pole here with Jack Stoneman on the outside, then Shane Theory and Tyler Skozen and Grady Gherkin for your top 5. Excuse me. Joey Cruz is up there, and Pete number 6 with Alan Elwood in 7th. Nick Nickerson in 8th, Danny Wares in 9th, Matthew Rodriguez in 10th, Christopher Pope with another, welcome back, Chris, because I know he was out for a little bit there, but back in 11th place. Tommy Ryan's in 12th, Jake Lesh in 13th, Robert Kenny in 14th, Chad Coleman in 15th, Cody Hemingway in 16th, Kelly Pointer in 17th, Josh Van Weston in 18th, Joe Sullivan in 19th, Dave Tilford making the top 20, Tim Glass there back at 21st, Bronson Stafford Collin is back there in 23rd, Tyler Barnes in 24th, Paul Butler in 25th, Tater Bowman, welcome back, he's in 26th, Matthew Simmons makes the field here tonight in 27th, Dan Phelps in 28th, John Crane makes the field here tonight in 29th, and Joe Thomas, our final driver of the evening. But we still want to give the rest of the drivers a shout out: Jeremy Gainey, Jeff Ryan, Graham Conley, Robert Higgs, Louis Orduna, Kevin Foster, James Balno, Zane Bierman, Caleb Collins, Mark Allen, and Terry Jansen. Sorry couldn't make the big boy field here tonight, but have yourself a great race still at Kansas, and I'm glad everybody showed up here tonight. To continue throughout the season, Carl, we're pretty deep in so far, and we're still breaking over 40 cars.
It's pretty amazing, Jimmy. We're more than halfway through the season at this point, and still getting over 40, so I'd love to see it. Love to see all the participation out here. Again, we got 80 laps on tap here tonight. It is JP Phillips on the pole for tonight. We'll take a quick look while they're getting around here on their pace lap. Don't have the standings board up for you, but just to let you know that for the Platinum, Alan Elwood leads the way, Shane Thury and Tommy Ryan, Tyler Skozen and Grady Gherkin Jack Stoneman for your top 5. In the gold, it's JP Phillips, Chandra Weiss, Nico Garcia, Bronson Stafford, and Joe Sullivan. In the silver division, Joey Cruz is tied with Robert Kenny for the top spot. Jeff Ryan, Matthew Simmons, and Chris Pope for your top 5. And then in the bronze, it is Dan Phelps, Dalton Drummond, John Crane, Jeremy Gainey, and Joe Thomas for your top 5. We are ready for racing action here at Kansas. And we'll start off here with Barney waving the first green flag here of the night as we race down to turn 1.
Down turn 1, and Alan Elwood and JP Phillips out front there, and Joey Cruz going high. These drivers got to get these tires warmed up. You got to be careful, dude. Excuse me, man.
Some issues.
I was talking to a driver. Hey, I'm having some issues. I was talking to the drivers tonight. One, trying to sneak around a little bit, Carl, trying to get fuel numbers. I'm tired of guessing. But,
and you think they're going to give you a straight answer? There's your second problem.
yeah, probably not. And the thing is, I talked to a few. Some were saying like 25. Some said like 28. So, somewhere in that area. And I would imagine, depending on how you drive and how you're on the throttle, I would say somewhere tonight, in by yourself, you probably are on that 27 lap area. If you can manage to save some fuel and craft a little bit, you might be able to catch 30. So something to look out here tonight for the drivers, and hopefully these drivers will make it this long. But good battle in here so far. Even up front, you got the 78 JP Phillips leading the way, Shane Thury in there in P number 2. Grady Gherkin sitting in 3rd with Jack Stoneman and Alan Elwood for your top 5. Alan Elwood got his hands full with Skozen on the outside, looking to use that little higher line. But the drivers were talking about, tonight on how loose the car was, like in the middle of the corners, Carl, and tight going in, loose in the middle, and just kind of all over the place exiting. So a challenge for these drivers here tonight with the current setup and the fuel levels that they've got tonight. So we'll see how well they can do. And obviously, Corey's been doing a pretty decent job at getting some green flag laps in this season. And, this could be one of those races where it comes down to a little bit of pit strategy. And we've seen different strategies work here. We've seen 2 tires, we've seen 4 tires, and depending on cautions, we've seen some caution E-type races, we've seen green flag races. So really interesting to see how these boys do, these drivers pan out here tonight. But right now, JP leading the way over the field.
good start for the field here tonight, and good to see them get back to some caution. I know the last couple races, maybe got a little bit rough around the edges, but coming home here to Kansas, a lot of these drivers know how to handle these mile-and-a-half tri-ovals, especially here at Kansas. To me, Kansas is one where you can use the apron down there. It doesn't seem as kind of wonky as some of the other tracks getting back up onto the track. I think of tracks like Kentucky, where it's it's a lot less transition getting down there on that apron, so it doesn't feel as violent. But coming back up onto the track from the apron there, it's just that the lines at Kansas kind of mess with you a little bit, mess with your eyes, and it leaves it for a little bit of a funny exit back up onto the track. But here at Kansas, kind of nice and even all the way through along that grass line, all the way around to turn number 1 there. But you see the drivers staying up on the track, not really utilizing that apron just yet. Maybe don't want to scrub off some extra tires if they don't have to. We got a new leader out there, the 9 of Shane Therian gets around JP Phillips, and he will now be your leader with Phillips, Stoneman, Gherkin, Elwood for your top 5 with Wisconsin trying to get into that top 5 still. Nick Nickerson, Danny Ware, Joey Cruz, and Christopher Pope for your top 10.
Yeah, and then, obviously last week being a special event, and I was out for the week. So I didn't even check in. I literally checked out while on vacation from everything. I think from the world. I had a pretty good time though. But I'm glad to be back. I started back up last night with Hold Your Brakes Racing Academy over there at the New Atlanta road track, and them starting their season up over there. Now back here with Xfinity for Core. Obviously Wednesday night, looking forward to getting back in the booth with the CSRL and Pit Road Speed Limit Racing as well. So ending back on Thursday nights with some special effects there with UVR. So it's good to see that they're going to be hopping around a little bit, maybe changing cars up for like a quick little 10 race. I think it was a 10 race calendar I've seen there.
9 race season, yeah.
To just kind of mix things up in this downtime.
Yeah, they're running the Xfinity cars over there. A good race this past Saturday. We'll have 191 starting up again this Sunday. We'll be back to a full slate of 7 different series over 5 nights, and love to see it. I mean, as much as I'd love to see all these cars out here and all these participants, I'd love to see how popular CRN has gotten to. We clearly do our best to put on a good show from the booth here. I mean, there's some races where the drivers do enough for us that we don't really have to do anything. We just got to sit back and watch the fantastic racing. There's somewhere, we got to add a little bit of fillers, and we got to add a little bit of, the jocular attitude to spice it up a little bit with, a few 2 extra cautions. But here tonight, already good start. Nice little slide out of turn number 2 there for Jack Stoneman, but he keeps it going straight here as hanging on to 3rd place right now. But the top 2 checking out maybe a little bit here, about a half a second in between 2nd and 3rd right now, as Alan Elwood out to the inside of Jack Stoneman. But out front, Shane Therian, JP Phillips trying to sneak away.
Yeah, I think some of those races, obviously, when we have to get all them fillers, typically it's for the cautions. You got to figure out stuff to talk about strategies and stuff like that. Oh, Stoneman going down to the inside. That's
Great save.
But he does save it. Wow, we're just getting ready to say, with cautions that come out, maybe we need to set out a caution tip jar somewhere, for the drivers to fill that thing up, so you really got something to talk about, whether it's just comments or whatever, things that we can bring over, maybe some historical stuff, or a special sponsor, something like that can be jammed in that can for when we need it for those cautions. But right now, we didn't need that caution there. Jack Stoneman using just a little bit of time. So going to get pushed back just a little bit there. But yeah, good close call there by Stoneman, falling back to 12th. But you can see already tires starting to kind of go away here. Already on lap 14? Yeah, 14.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got me guessing. I thought it was 14, but yep, it is lap number 14 of 80. And we'll see who was telling the truth to Jimmy and who was maybe fibbing a little bit when it comes to the pit strategies here tonight. But always a fun one when we come out here to Kansas. But one thing I'm surprised at, Jimmy, is a lot of times, maybe it's the nighttime because we come to Kansas so many times and do a night race. Here today, we are under the sunlight instead of the track lights here, and seeing it really being a bottom feeding track. More often than not, we see Kansas, you're really getting that top line utilized. But at least for the time being, I mean, maybe the driver's just trying to keep the tires underneath them and just trying to be nice and smooth down on the bottom. But seeing more bottom feeding action right now than I think I've ever seen at Kansas.
Well, we're limited on tires, so, they got to take care of them somewhere along the way. And, it's obviously that choice whether they want when they get to that range here, whether they want to take a full set or not. And, if they can do 28 to 30 laps, I mean, you still got at least pit twice. So I'm definitely we're going to be looking at that range anyway. So at least 2 pit stops here tonight, I'm going to say, and it's really going to depend whether they want to use tires that whole time. If they stay green, then I would say you'd want to execute a 4-tire stop each time. But somebody might just be like, well, let me save my tires, and then being able to capitalize on that, mid-race and be able to move up through the pack. I can see the maybe leaders and not doing that, but. Shane going up top, and JP Phillips looking well. Going to go on to take the lead back over Shane 3, and as they race down the back chair and down through turns 3 and 4. Looks like JP got the lead just a little bit. Shane trying to work his way up that top lane here, see if we can hold that momentum. Looks like he's going to go to it as the 78 lets up a little bit to allow Shane 3 some room up there, but still right not having. So Shane, first car of the evening here, trying to make that high line look.
Well, listen, I'm a dirt racer at heart. Both going to it in person and here on the service. I definitely like getting out there on the dirt track, and maybe Shane's out there just trying to wear in that upper groove, like sometimes you do in a dirt car. He's trying to get that top lane working. Certainly, it's worked enough to hold on to the lead for the time being, as it's now about to be a 4-car battle. Brady Gurkin joining the fray up here as well. So 4 cars under a half a second blanket here at the front. Tyler Skosen there in 5th. Nick Nickerson, Joey Cruz has got a battle here with Danny Ware for 7th and 8th. Chad Coleman and Chris Pope for your top 10. You see at the top of the board there who's leading for each of the divisions, including the rookie Chad Coleman right now up there in 9th place, and he's had a good start certainly to his core career in the 138 there, the Kit Kat machine. But I mean, it's great to see. Not only do we have representation from all the divisions here, but more than one. I mean, even the bronze division has got 3 drivers here, and John Crane, Dan Phelps, and Joe Thomas looking to pick up some big points if possible on their competitors that are down there in the second split.
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge, obviously the way things are kind of set up, if you kind of get set back and you don't make the top 30, if you win over there, it's like getting 20th points. So, sometimes it's kind of almost beneficial for the bronze drivers just to maybe all hang back and race together. But if you know that you're fast, you can find yourself wherever. But Jack Stallman losing it again, but this time, caution flies. On lap number 21.
Let's keep an eye there on Tyler Skosen, who was up into the wall and almost caused an incident himself. But we'll take a look back here at the 25 of Stoneman. Same thing. Turn number 2 has been his bugaboo here tonight. That's at least the 3rd time that he's gotten loose. This time unable to catch it on the backstretch. And Jimmy, I'm going to say, I'm going to scratch my head here once again with an iRacing caution on this one. I know he slid down across the track here, but how often have we seen drivers single car incident down on the apron on the backstretch? Around really nobody else involved, no caution. This one, luckily for Stoneman, we get a caution.
Yeah, I do see some damage on that left rear of that number 25 was China up on
definitely
independent now, seeing if his left rear. So it looks like he got some damage. So somebody got into him.
I think we're going to see quite a busy pit lane here. I'm sure we'll see the entire field come into the pits. I don't know if anybody wants to stay out. We've already had 21 laps of green flag racing here. Definitely want to come in here, but still the question, do you want to take tires at this point? Again, these drivers have 2 sets of tires in the pits. Certainly it's around, you know, kind of that third of the way through the field, or third of the way through the race. It would make sense to take a set of tires here, and maybe then if we go on another green flag run, take it on the second stint there. But it looks like a couple of drivers electing not to. One of them is going to be their new race leader, Grady Gherkin, coming back out there. Looks like either right sides only or fuel only. He's going to come out as leader. Chris Pope taking the same strategy. He's coming out in second. Kelly Pointer going to come out in third. Shane Thurian came in as your leader. He is going to come out in the 4th position right now, but he's got 4 freshies on that 09 machine. Jake Lush, another one, taking a big step up with the strategy here. He's going to put him up in the 5th, and then the rest of the field pretty much all taking tires as JP Phillips, Alan Elwood, Joey Cruz, Danny Ware, and Nick Nickerson going to round out your top 10.
Yeah, and the big thing that the drivers that did take tires will need to be patient with the drivers that did not take tires. They are going to be obviously a little bit better here. You can see the times we're starting, I think, to fall off just a little bit. Let's see if I can, because they're in the 30s. 31's being their best. And obviously, I don't have an exact time what their last laps were because they were under caution. But so, I mean, either way, you just have to be patient with some of those drivers up there. Now we know, and we know like Grady Gherkin and Christopher Pope, you know, they've been around. You know, Pope might be new to the series, not new to iRacing. He's actually not only an iRacing veteran, but an active veteran here as well. So just shout out to our veterans and our active veterans that come and hang out with us here at CRN and at Core. So I always give a shout out to them, drivers. But Kelly, you know, all these drivers. Kelly also another, you know, veteran driver. And probably up there on some used tires, so they just have to be careful. They got to know that they're going to fall back, and the drivers behind them got to know that they're going to be a little bit slower. So they have to just practice patience and make way, not move out of the way, and just roll over and give it to them. But basically try to not cause a debacle between the two of them. And you know, some want to take more than they actually got, and some want to take less. And you can see great start there by Shane Thurian, goes down to the middle, almost making a pass before the start-finish line. So maybe a reviewable start there for the admins later on. But we're going to go ahead and watch them go here, and you're going to see a lot of drivers going 3 wide here, looking for that spot, trying to get back up in the position they were in.
Well, it looks like it is actually a black flag for Shane Thurian, because he did make that pass at the start, and you see he's going to have to come in and serve that penalty. Did get to the inside of the car in front of him and made the pass before the line, so big impact there for the 09, and he's going to want a caution to try and catch back up to the field for sure. Certainly had a fast 09 here, and kind of unfortunate that he got a good start there, and Chris Pope in front of him did not. But out front, like a cannon, JP Phillips works around the slower non-tires cars in front of him, and he shoots back up to the lead. Alan Elwood already up there in second place. Nick Nickerson moves his way into third. Certainly a veteran here of Kansas Speedway as well, has fared very well just about every time he comes here to Kansas in the Core Series, and really any series that he runs in. Joey Cruz now has moved himself up into 5th place, and got to give a shout out to Cruz here in the 028, as he did get a good starting spot up here in 6th place in the Silver Division. He was the bronze champion last year, but raced well enough that he probably could have even been in the gold, and got moved up to silver for this season. But he's stuck as the meat in the sandwich here, 3 wide heading into 1.
Yeah, and you know, I talked with Joey, you know, last season a little bit here and there, and obviously when he's in the booth, Joey's one of those drivers. He's got a lot of talent, and you know, it's really about buckling down and making the right, you know, decisions, the racecraft, and where you can finish well. And obviously maybe making a not so correct decision when it comes to like making a move or a pit stop or trying to kind of stick in the middle, or maybe if you would just waited one more lap, being able to make that move. So, but coming a long way. It's always good to see people develop and get better and faster here. But the 028 getting it done here tonight so far, up a spot. We're going to talk about up spots a little bit. Your biggest mover of the race right now is Matthew Simmons in number 49, up 15 spots in P number 12. So Simmons, and we know Simmons from here at Core Xfinity, but also from over at
UCRL. We just covered that over there.
We covered over there, and it was really big. And I've raced with Matt a few times in some special events. So definitely another driver with some speed and those cars, and really came a long way, especially that last season with UCRL, or not UCRL.
Yep, yeah, it was UCRL. Yep, you're right.
UCRL. Yeah,
yep.
UCRL.
You're right. For once you're right. For once you're right. That's
my brain is mush, man. I can't.
And you're getting on my case. You're getting on my case for getting Joe Thomas, who didn't make the field here tonight in the 218. The 218, not the 217. Not at all. He's your leader right now in the bronze.
I am that I'm old. Come on.
I'm still hanging on. I'm still 25 for the 15th year in a row. But either way, Bronson Stafford and Tyler Barnes, no slouches to moving up through the field, as well as they're both up 14 positions from their starting spot. But the man that started on the pole is the one leading this thing right now. JP Phillips cruising out there, half a second lead on Alan Elwood. Tyler Scholes now has been running some of the fastest laps in the race, and just ran what's actually tied for the fastest lap of the race with JP Phillips. And really only 3 cars, actually looks like 4 cars have eclipsed the, actually no, sorry, 5. I forgot Shane Theory is back there as well. 5 cars have made it under the 31-second mark here so far tonight. We'll see if those numbers climb up when we get a little bit later in the race and then maybe get some new tires here once again. But it is Phillips, Elwood, Skozen, Ware and Cruz for your top 5. Then Nickerson, Hemingway, Stafford, Rodriguez, and Ryan for your top 10. And first time we're talking about the 66 here tonight. He started just outside the top 10, just cracking into the top 10 right now. And by the way, I'll throw it out there, Jimmy, since you didn't tune in, you didn't watch, you didn't see Tommy Ryan win the All-Star race last week.
I'm a fan. I can't help it. I like the way Tommy Ryan drives. He's just always, when I first seen him on a track, just watching how smooth, methodical, and how patient that driver is just insane. Like, and he always does well. Always tries to give as much courtesy to the drivers around him as possible. So, if you're out there and you're looking for somebody to kind of emulate, to like be like, just a type of driver, a type of person on the track, 66, you can't fail with trying to mimic what they do, on the track, off the track. It's just one of those people that you bump into. You just kind of, you look up to them and you appreciate what they represent and how they race here on the track with everybody else.
For the most part, it is single file out there, kind of calmed down a little bit. Definitely some racing here and there throughout the field. As looks like we got a battle just inside the top 5 here. Joey Cruz on the inside. On the outside is Danny Ware, trying to get that 35 up there into 4th position. It seems like the middle line is definitely viable, especially coming off the corners. Haven't seen the top line work too much other than Shane Thurian early on. But that bottom line still seems to be the preferred line for just about everyone out there. And we are seeing some more drivers take that apron on the front stretch, at least in defense of their positions. You see now Joey Cruz down there this time by. You got Nick Nickerson right there behind him, and certainly a few different lines behind them with Cody Hemingway, Bronson Stafford, and Tommy Ryan is a little close right there, as a little bit of a switcheroo from Danny Ware goes from the outside now to the inside of Cruz, trying to make this pass. A good battle up here inside the top 5. Back a little bit further in the pack, Jack Stoneman brought out the first caution here. He's trying to work his way back. He went all the way back to 30th position. So you want to look at a driver making his way through the field. Right now, Jack Stoneman is up 11 spots from the restart, so a good little bounce back. But you see where he is on the track map compared to the rest of the field and the rest of your leaders, quite a ways behind, kind of stuck in traffic right now behind Jeff Ryan, Robert Kenny, as he gets loose again out of 2. 2 is certainly going to reach him and bite him at some point, but in the meantime, taking a bite out of first place is the 5 of Alan Elwood. We'll take a look back and see how the pass was made, if I can find it. There it is. Just the pass for the lead, just maybe a little bit of a bobble there from the 78 coming out of the corner, but just a good run, a little bit of a draft. Elwood down to the inside heading into turn number 3, and Phillips doesn't put up too much of a fight here, doesn't want to waste any kind of tires, just sucks in line. So the number 5 of Elwood to the point for the first time here tonight.
Yeah, finally getting that number 5 into the front here tonight, up 6 spots. Not a great qualifying effort for Alan. I'm sure, you know, a little hard on himself. Alan's really one of those drivers that likes to, you know, do the best that he can every single time that he's on the track. You know, he wants to win. He wants to be in that spot to represent, you know, his teammates and you know, his sponsors. So definitely doing a good job here tonight so far, getting up into the first position there, getting around JP Phillips. But we still have plenty of racing left here, Carl. We're at lap 41. Alan Elwood leads over JP Phillips, Tyler Scholes, and Joey Cruz, and Nick Nickerson for your top 5. Then Danny Ware, Cody Hemingway, Tommy Ryan, Bronson Stafford, and Matthew Rodriguez for your top 10.
Heck of a battle here between the 2 of Nickerson and the 35 of Danny Ware. None of them want to give any kind of room, any kind of passes here. It is an epic battle, as you've seen that Nickerson kind of leaning on the 35 out of 2 last time by. But Jimmy, we are past the halfway point. It's been a nice little green flag run here. We'll see when the drivers decide to come down pit road. It's been about 20 laps since their last pit stop on lap number 22. We're going to step aside and turn it up here for a little. Love to hear it. sights and sounds here for the Core Xfinity Series presented by Kim's Cups and More, and we are under a yellow flag here. Looks like some issue here for Jack Stoneman, and haven't caught him. I just rewinded here. Didn't catch the initial incident here of him going up into the wall, and I think just running a high line into the corner, and just kind of caught him. He's trying to stay out of the way of some other driver. Actually, it looks like he's already damaged pretty heavily as what happened. He went up into the wall, but this did bring out the caution, and ended up coming out quite a bit later as he was just trying to go through the grass and turn it into the pits. And again, another head scratcher. I mean, this to me is crazy that this is a caution. He stays out everybody's way. You see it's still green. You see the lights on the track, still green, and he is well off of the racing surface. Unless we miss somebody else wrecking in this process here. I mean, Stoneman is all the way down in here, drives it into the pits, and gets into his pit stall without causing any kind of incidents, and yet the yellow comes out. I don't know. I don't get it, but I'll tell you what. This is going to be very interesting now, because remember those drivers earlier, Jimmy, that didn't take tires in that first stop? And everybody took tires, and then they took tires in that second pit stop. Guess who's got the advantage right now?
Everybody that didn't take tires. So, as a lot of drivers are going to be able to come in. And you probably see them come in. I mean, we're down to around lap 61. So, and they got to go to 85. So, yeah, I can see some people giving up track space here. Yeah, you can already see it going on. Grady Gherkin, Cody Hemingway, Dave Tilford, Pope, Coleman, Lesh, Bowman, Therian, being able to get back up there. You're going to see these drivers come in. I think after the end of this run here, you're going to see them rise to the top. Unless those tires fall off. You know, if these drivers up front can manage their tires, you're going to see that happen. I see Alan Elwood back there in P1 12 now too, so maybe one of those drivers. Did he come in for tires?
No, he came in, looks like just fuel only, maybe making sure that he was going to make it to the end on fuel, because he was one of the early ones to come into the pits on that second run there, so maybe I'm not getting a good fuel mileage in that 5 machine. He's going to come into the pits, but quite a few drivers right there behind him did come in and get tires, as mentioned. Cody Hemingway, Grady Gherkin, Chad Coleman, Jake Lesh, Christopher Pope, just to name a few, that have now freshest tires in the field. The JP Phillips and quite a few others, all the way down to Joe Thomas in 11th, did not come into the pits. And we're going to line them back up here, give you a new running order, because it's certainly shaken up here now with less than 20 laps to go. JP Phillips, your pole sitter, back to the lead. Tyler Skozen has looked very fast here tonight, and he is up there in second place. Danny Ware, Bronson Stafford, Josh Van Westen, highest we've seen him so far here tonight, up there in the top 5. Joey Cruz, Tommy Ryan, Colin Fleckinger, Matthew Simmons, Joe Sullivan for your top 10. Then, as mentioned, 218 of Joe Thomas there in 11th place. Alan Elwood, Matthew Rodriguez, Cody Hemingway, Grady Gherkin for your top 15. Robert Kenny, Dave Tilford, Jake Lesh, Chad Coleman, and Christopher Pope for your top 20. But less than 20 is what we have. We're going to have 18 laps to go. Who has got the right strategy? We got drivers that stayed out. We got drivers that came in to make sure they got enough fuel. We got drivers that came in to get some fresh tires. This is going to get real interesting and fun for these last 18 laps. JP Phillips leads them down to the restart zone here. He'll be the first one to get on the loud pedal, and we are back to racing here at Kansas.
We're back to racing at Kansas, and those drivers with the newer tires, or if they're a little bit faster behind maybe some of the slower cars, has to be patient. They, or they're going to end up in a wreck, and then things will get mixed up even more. But down now, we're looking to the outside of the 67 here early on. Joe Thomas makes a 3-wide, makes that pass pretty easily. Take that 5 back up one more spot to now to chase down Joe Sullivan and P number 9. So,
Jimmy, I found the battlefield. I found the battlefield.
You found it?
There's a mass of cars here. It's amazing. 3, 4, maybe even 5 wide down the front stretch.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's just that's the battlefield, man. I mean, you don't get any better. Except, like I said, new tires, slower drivers having a good race. You know, somebody that fell behind, all working through there. So that's just the most dangerous portion of the track. Always will be, in my opinion, and one of the toughest places to race when you're there. So,
what a save there by Robert Kenny. Started to jump in there, but he's 4 wide now on the outside, on the front stretch. Just drivers looking to try and find a way back up there. That's Shane Therian on the bottom, trying to work his way back up through this field after having the early penalty. And he has got a fast 09 machine trying to work his way up through, trying to go 3 wide right now. Just not in there, heading into 3 and 4. Dave Tilfer going to come down in front of him. So Shane's still back there in 20. But meanwhile, you've got a new race leader. Not sure what happened to JP Phillips, but Joey Cruz is now your new leader. Tyler Skozen in second. Tommy Ryan, Danny Wehrer now in second. Tyler Skozen, Tommy Ryan in fourth. JP Phillips is back to 6th position, so not sure what exactly happened to JP Phillips here. We'll try and take a look back and see if this is possibly where an incident may have happened. As, oh yeah, right there, got a touch from Joey Cruz, who was on the inside, just got to his quarter panel there, entering the corner. As we'll get you back live here, and Phillips has got some ways to make up here. Meanwhile, trying to make his way back up through the field, Alan Elwood back up to 8th position right now as Matthew Simmons a little sideways in front of him. See the smoke coming off the tires. Joe Sullivan now the meat in the sandwich as the 01, or the 010 there of Cody Hemingway to the inside, Grady Girk on the outside. Jimmy, I think it's go time here in Kansas. Maybe we missed the real green flag because it is crazy out there.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's looking to make positions, and newer tires are trying to use them up a little bit and trying to make their way through there and get and some moves down there. Pope making a move, avoiding a 138 as he goes high. So move Pope back up into 12th position, but 3 wide with Simmons on the outside, 121. And the 010 make a buy, the 46 and the 010 on the move. Now tracking down Alan Elwood. Obviously, tires are a factor here late in the race. We're on lap 69, still have a few laps to go. You know, these drivers up front are still looking to get great finishes, but these new tires can work their way through, or can Joey Cruz and Danny Ware hold the pack off here with what they got. But Joey doing a pretty good job here. Just a little bit of a race incident maybe earlier with JP Phillips, but keeping things green. But now has his hands full for that number 35 of Danny Ware.
The 010 of Cody Hemingway makes his way past Alan Elwood, as does Grady Gherkin. They both have those new tires from lap 60, but how quick can they get past these cars up front now as they catch up to JP Phillips here in 6th position? A little bit of battling going on in front of them as you've got Tommy Ryan starting to see him creep up towards the front here at the end of this race, into the top 5. Now battling for 4th place with Tommy Ryan. With Tyler Skozen actually starting for 3rd place, as at the front Joey Cruz still leads the way. Danny Ware looking for a way around. 10 laps to go here at Kansas.
10 laps to go, and if they keep battling, it's going to put Tommy Ryan back in the clutch here. As you can see those 2 cars battling out here, and you know, obviously Cruz being a little slow right there, and at 35 gives him a little bit of a bumper, gets him a little loose. He's going to stay a little bit high here as they come out. Turns number 4 down this quad oval. Cruz still has the lead by 3/4 of a car, not quite clear. The 35 to come down. It's going to open up the inside for the 35 and Danny Ware. It's going to put him side by side. Tommy Ryan has cleared the field behind him, and he's now closing in. So Tommy running down 35 and 28, looking to steal one of these positions away, or maybe even both. You got Cody Hemingway in the 10, obviously putting in a good showing here at the end of the race, but then right behind Tyler Skozen, you see him 3 wide. You got Chad Coleman, Shane Therian, and Chad Pope just all in there trying to get around. So the new tires starting to squeak their way through the field. Even Shane Therian, he's going to the high side. We've seen Shane on the high side earlier and it worked, but now he has to work his way through. Almost gets in it with the 82 going down, letting that happen. But caution flies here. Robert Canyon has an incident here on lap number 73.
Yeah, already into the pits as we'll get a chance to breathe here, as this was just starting to turn up here, and this is, I'm sure, not what the 28, the 028 there, Cruz or Danny Ware wanted to see. They may have had a chance to hold off the 010, but here it is going into turn number 1, and yeah, got close to contact there. Might have been net code involved between the 11 of John Crane and the 34 there of Robert Kenny. Looked like the 85 and Dan Phelps got a piece of that as well. But that is going to bring out a caution here. We're going to be under 5 laps to go when we get this thing back to green. And man, I'm ready to type up the who you got in the chat here, but it only gives me 4 choices here. I can't put 4 choices or more than 4 choices out there. I don't know if I can narrow it down to 4 at this point. I mean, you got Joey Cruz in the lead, Danny Ware all over the backside, but now you got the fresh tires of Cody Hemingway is up there into 3rd place. Tommy Ryan starting to finally show his pace, but he's got the newer tires of Cody Hemingway already in front of him. Grady Gherkin has got new tires as well in 5th. Bronson Stafford has looked fast here tonight. He's up there in 6th place. Chad Coleman has looked fast as well up into 7th. I mean, I guess maybe if I can put 6 different polls up at once, that's about the only way, because I have no idea who's going to win this thing. We'll put one out there regardless and see who the fans out there in Sierra Nation think. But before we do, I want to give a shout out and thanks to all the fans tuning in here tonight. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe, get you in touch with everything that Sierra has to offer. And while we got some time here before we get going here, we'll give the sponsor read right away. For Kim's Cups and More. If I get up here, there we go. Kim's Cups and More is your one-stop shop for all your apparel needs, whether it's a custom 20-ounce tumbler to fill with your favorite post-race beverage, a 40-ounce glitter tumbler for your morning coffee after you're up all night celebrating that win, or custom clothing apparel with your favorite team, sponsor, or maybe your favorite broadcasters, wink wink, a custom license plate for your favorite everyday ride, even mouse pads to help you rearrange that pesky new UI. You can choose from already created products or have them custom made to your liking. Whatever your pleasure, Kim's Cups and More has it all. Check them out on Facebook today. That's Kim's Cups with a K and more. Jimmy, I forget the fuel mileage. We don't have to worry about fuel mileage at this point. We don't have to do any guessing on fuel mileage, but I'm going to ask you, before I ask the fans out there, Jimmy, who you got?
You really seriously got to ask me that question. Well, I have to go. I mean, you know, I'm a Tommy Ryan fan, so I mean, I'm hoping for the 66 to get it. I mean, he's already up there, but I can't leave out the little pickle that could. You know, the number 46, always a huge CRN supporter, and definitely, you know, another favorite for me. So I'd like to see the 66 or the 46 come out on top here tonight. But you know, if as long as Joey Cruz makes smart decisions, I think that 28 can lead us way to victory here tonight.
Yeah, we'll get this ball up here as we're getting ready to go back to green for what could be the last restart of the race. But again, I mean, your guess is as good as mine out there. We'll get a few choices out there for you. Again, it only allows me to have 4 out there, so we'll go ahead and we'll just put the top 4 out there right now with the 28 of Joey Cruz, the 35 of Ware.
61's going to win.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I got my eye on the 09 even of Shane Therian back there. He has been one heck of a comeback kid here tonight. He was fast here tonight, led a few laps, and unfortunately got caught up in just a bad situation on a restart. Got to the inside, made the pass before the start-finish line. He served his penalty and has come back. He's got a chance now once again at the lead, but meanwhile, Joey Cruz gets out to the lead. Cody Hemingway, though, has a bit of a bump there from Tommy Ryan into Danny Ware. Great save from the 66 to keep it in But I got my eye on that 010 as well. Cody Hemingway took that second set of tires late, and we are coming to the line right now. We've got 3 laps to go. Hemingway to the inside of Cruz. I don't think there's really anything that Cruz can do. Unfortunately, he's run a good race. He doesn't want to get in the wall, though. Doesn't want to give up too many spots here. As now Gherkin to the inside, sneaks by. Maybe a little brush. But Gherkin may have his eyes set on the top prize here tonight. Yeah, it is definitely not over at all. Danny Ware trying to run about 6 different lines here to keep anybody behind that he can. As he got Tommy Ryan on the inside. Oh, as we got a spin at the back. That is going to bring out a caution, a green-white checkered here at Kansas to finish this thing. Oh, boy. Hold all your thoughts on the pole. And who's going to win this thing? Matthew Simmons looks like he comes away with a meatball on that one. So he's going to have to come into the pits and get that served as the pace car races out of pit lane. That's a pretty fast pace car there coming out of pit lane, I must say, to get out to the front of the field. But this is going to shake things up here once again and reset the field. Cruz scraped that wall a bit too much, fell back quite a few positions here, so the win is going to be out the window unless we see a big wreck here at the front. But now the question, Jimmy, is the one we kind of dismissed on the last caution: fuel mileage. Does anybody have any kind of fuel mileage issues? Because we're not 80 laps now, we're going overtime.
Oh, you're definitely going over the clock here, and you know, I think some of these drivers might be okay, and some may not. It looks like Tommy going, or not Tommy, but Danny going down there, trying to dip his tires on the grass a little bit to maybe cool them tires down a little bit, knowing that he's on some older tires. As he was in a lap 52, and obviously a little low on the tire situation here, along with Tommy Ryan sitting in P4. He's on lap 51. We're getting at that stage now. These drivers, you know, hopefully, you know, it was enough fuel. I think Cody Hemingway is good. Green Gherkin's probably good. Chad Coleman, Shane Therrien's good. But you know, Jody Cruz, he's in at lap 50, racing hard. Might be coming up short here. And same thing with Alan Elwood. He should be good. He was in at 60. So all your drivers that were in like 50-51, Carl, they might have to dip in.
You see the incident here, what brought out the caution, and you see the 78 got a little bit loose and tried to chase up the track, but the 028 was already right there. Alan Elwood getting a piece. Certainly Matthew Simmons getting a huge piece. There was quite a few cars involved in this one. Looks like Tater Bowman, Joe Sullivan, Bronson Stafford, obviously JP Phillips you see right there involved. So quite a few contenders here in this race involved in the incident. So we are getting ready for green, white, checkered here at Kansas Speedway, and let me double check it. Yeah, I did believe there was 2 attempts here at a green, white, checker. This is going to be attempt number 1 of 2. We'll see if this one is enough to get the winner done. But now we got Cody Hemingway on the inside, Danny Ware on that outside. So you got the 2 kind of fresh tire cars. Brady Gherkin lined up in 3rd, right behind him on the inside. Tommy Ryan in 4th. Shane Therrien right there in 5th position. He's in the same boat. He's got those fresh tires from lap number 60. Chad Coleman does as well in 6th. Joey Cruz, Alan Elwood, Christopher Pope, and Bronson Stafford for your top 10. But, I mean, at this point, the way it's been so crazy here tonight, I mean, the fact that we've only had a few cautions here tonight with some of the just 3, 4, 5 wide battling here that we've seen at Kansas. I'm surprised we haven't had any more, but it's time to go overtime here at Kansas, and I promise you, it's not going to be like the Cowboys and the Packers. We are going to have a winner here tonight. No ties here in the Kims Cups and More Core Xfinity Series. Pace car is off. Cody Hemingway has got his foot on that loud pedal, and we are back to racing here one more time. Great start from the 010. The 35 of Danny Ware moves down as quick as he can to block off any kind of run from Gherkin. You see right there the 09 of Shane Therrien trying to get her wound up going into turn number 1 side by side as Tommy Ryan trying not to slide back any further, but you see his tires just a little bit worn compared to some of these other cars as Gherkin to the inside of Danny Ware, already into 2nd place. Little Pickle thinks that maybe he could here tonight, but the white flag is in the air. One more lap to go here at Kansas. 0.2 of a second lead for Cody Hemingway heading into turn number 1. Shane Therian is back up into 3rd place as Danny Ware. What a save! That was about 6 or 7 saves onto the backstretch, and we are going to have a mix-up on the backstretch. As you see, Ware trying to save it about 5 times, but out of turns 3 and 4. Your top 4 are going to make it through. Cody Hemingway, though, is your winner here at Kansas. Grady Gherkin, Shane Therian, Chad Coleman, Danny Ware for your top 5, as Ware somehow saved it about 6 different times in turns 1 and 2. And then it looked like it might have been a little bit the same situation with Cruz trying to save it, but quite a few getting involved in the last lap wreck here. But what a finish out there tonight here in Kansas, and we will we'll end the poll right there. And congrats to like it's a 3-way tie there, 29% for Cruz, Ware, and Hemingway. But it's Hemingway that gets the win here tonight.
Yeah, a rough finish here. Obviously, everybody going for the win here, and trying to get things done, and really trying to, it's everybody's so competitive, Carl, and they try everything possible, every inch of this track they're trying to fill. They're trying to using every ounce of rubber still left in their tires to try to keep things going. And a heck of a save there by Danny Ware. Obviously, goes over and over again, and these cars are hard to get back under control once you make those tires angry, especially this part or this phase of the race. But good run there by Cody, being able to right spot, right time. Grady Gherkin getting a great finish, and Shane Therian obviously amazing bounce back, had a very fast 9 here tonight. So looking forward to talking to all them drivers here tonight up in the booth. Congratulations on everybody that had a great finish. Biggest mover of the race tonight was the looks like the number 95 of Taylor Bowman.
Yeah, at the end there, big comeback there for the 95, finishing up 17 spots. While we get the drivers in here ready for their interviews, Jimmy, why don't you give us a rundown of tonight's final order?
Rundown of tonight's final order is results. It's going to be Cody Hemingway with the win over Grady Gherkin and Shane Therian, and then Chad Coleman, Danny Ware, Tyler Skozen, Christopher Pope with the 7th place finish, David Tilford in 8th, Taylor Bowman in 9th, Josh Van Westen in 10th, and Jacob Lesh, Alan Elwood, Tim Glass, Bronson Stafford, Matthew Simmons, Colin in number 67 back there in 16th, Joe Thomas in 17th, Joe Sullivan in 18th, Joey Cruz finishing all the way back in 19th after leading there towards the end, Tommy Ryan finishing in 20th, Dan Phelps in 21st, JP Phillips in 22nd, 23rd is Kelly Pointer, 24th is John Crane, 24th Robert Kenny, Matthew Rodriguez in 26th, Tyler Barnes in 27th, Jack Stoneman in 28th, Paul Butler finishing in 29th, and Nick Nickerson rounding out your 30-car field here for the main event. I'm not quite sure how they're finishing. They're probably still running or finishing up over there on the other side, but we will get back. You can check on CoreRacingLeague.com and look for the results there for everybody's finish.
Well, we're going to get our top 3 here in a moment and get everything squared away, but it was a heck of a race here at Kansas, as Kansas usually puts on a great race, and we've seen anything but a bad one here tonight. It was fantastic, and a few cautions here and there. Some left us kind of scratching our heads why a caution was thrown out with single car incidents on the backstretch, and then another one with a car completely off the track. That one's still just it's things like that irk me, that there's no reason a caution should be coming out for something like that. But it's iRacing, and it's they've got a funky algorithm, and I still don't understand it, and it still won't. It baffles me like the heat racing sessions. But either way, we'll get our top 3 here in the booth. Looks like we got our 3rd place driver right now, and that is going to be the 09 of Shane Therian. And Shane, certainly the middle of the race wasn't exactly what you want to have happen. Unfortunately, you get a great restart. The car in front of you, though, doesn't. You just beat up to the line. Gives you the black flag. You serve it right away. And you had a heck of a comeback on your hands. And I'll be damned if you didn't make it all the way back up to the front.
Yeah. I don't know.
Sounds like you're scratching your head about as much as we are up here.
Well, I kind of feel responsible for the yellow flag because I jokingly said put it out when Stoneman was stuck in the wall. You know, I didn't think they were gonna throw flags, and then Stoneman would start screaming, throw it, and I was like, and then they threw it. I was like, oh. So I don't know. I got stuck back there from a black flag with the 82 spinning his tires, and decided to just keep going and not kill the field by braking. So it's just kind of lose-lose, I think, in my situation. But yeah, I think if I didn't get the EOL for being a lucky dog, I probably would have won that race. I started 28th on track and passed everyone that I could pass.
Well, it damn near worked, and he had the right tire strategy at the right time as well. We've seen a few drivers not taking tires on that first pit stop and saving them in kind of, same situation, kind of scratching their heads, is this the right strategy or not? Certainly, saving an extra set of tires for the end really paid off for you, and taking those tires on lap 60 allowed you to get through the field a little bit cleaner.
Yeah, the thought process was not taking them and then pitting in like 10-ish laps and then just trying to salvage what I could if we stayed green, because I would have had fresher tires. But it played out differently. I'll take it. I mean, I'm upset about the black flag. Kind of sucks. Just put me in a really, really tough spot on what to do there. But I got lucked out of it, I guess. I know a lot of people are upset. I would be
patience. You exercise patience, man.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Who knows? Who knows what happens the rest of this year?
Well, I guess the good thing is we had enough drivers to kick it to a second split. So instead of going back to 40th, you're at least only going back to 30th. Was an extra 10 cars out there for you to pass. But a heck of a drive back through the field, and a heck of a job here tonight to get yourself up onto a podium. You had a fast 09, and had you not had the mishap here tonight, I'm sure we would have been talking to you regardless, but possibly at the top spot. So congrats on the podium here tonight. Before we let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Can I give a shout out to the EDE guys and the Sky guys, and I guess I'm going to shout out the field there for my run passing 20 plus cars. It was clean and no wrecks. I was genuinely shocked. So shout out to the guys out there tonight.
Well, once again, congrats on the podium here tonight. We'll let you go celebrate, and we'll see if you can get that 09 back to the top spot next week.
Hope so.
That is your third place finisher here tonight. That 09 of Shane Therian. Really an amazing heck of a comeback here for Shane tonight. Second place tonight, Jimmy, is going to be the little pickle that almost did. It's going to be the 46 of Grady Gherkin.
Grady! Jimmy Carl in the booth, Cappy.
What's up, Jimmy? Yeah, I got you guys.
Hey, it's good to have you back up here in the booth, man. Always, out there supporting CRN like you always do. And you had yourself one heck of a drive. You started pretty decent here tonight, back there in, what was it, 5th place, I believe. And, just kind of nice and quiet all night. And then just find yourself in the right spot, the right time, right tire strategy, and just kind of almost had the opportunity to, get that win here tonight. Did you have something for Cody, or were you just kind of chilling and just trying to survive those last few laps of this amazing race?
A little bit of both. That first yellow came out, and we were just kind of shy of our pit window, is what I felt. And I wanted to save the tires, but not many other guys did. So the whole rest of the race, I was kind of kicking myself for that, and kind of like, I'm not going to do that again. I need to just take the tires when I can. But it ends up kind of paying off. Got me up here talking to you guys up in the booth. It's been a while. So, it worked out good. If we could have gone green there towards the end, I think Cody and I could have cleared up to the front faster, and then I might have been able to battle with him. But that yellow kind of slowed us down, but we were still able to get up there. So it ended up working out, but midway through the race, I thought I was in deep trouble.
I mean, patience, man, and we all know that. We've seen you on track, obviously over in the other leagues, and just running a full tank of fuel and wearing them tires down to about nothing. So obviously a little bit of change here, where tires are a little more important, often, and obviously not quite enough to take a set every single time that you need to take fuel. But you did a good job here and executing and sticking with your plan. You come away a second place finisher here tonight, so we want to say congratulations up here in the booth. Great to talk to you again. I hope to talk to you a few more times before the end of the season, but we want to give you some time for any shouts you might have in at number 46.
Yeah, definitely shout out to you guys. Like I said, it's been a while since I've been able to talk to you. This feels good being back up here in the booth. So yeah, just the teammates, Tim, Jake, Turn and Bird Motorsports, and yeah, we'll be looking forward to watching the broadcast and go waiting for next week.
Well, again, congratulations. Thanks for the shout outs, everybody, and hope to see you next week. We'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
That is your second place finisher here tonight, the 46 of Gritty Gherkin. Top spot is going to go to the 010 of Cody Hemingway. Cody, you're one of those cheeky drivers that decided not to take tires on that first pit stop, and that absolutely played out beautifully for you here tonight as you take your second set of tires on lap 60. Took you a little bit to drive through the field. Were you worried at all getting through the field there? Were you happy to see some of those cautions to help you kind of group everything back up?
Yes and no. I just want to say thanks guys for having me. It was an awesome race, and I just want to say it's a special one. I don't have the speed, outright. So to have something come my way in that late caution and get those tires, really special. But yeah, I didn't want to use my stuff up too quick coming through the field. I knew that only a couple of us had fresh tires. I just didn't want to burn them up because the fall off was so tough, so I just wanted to, keep it smooth and methodically pick my way through the field.
Well, one thing that's kind of surprised me here tonight was a lot of times we come here to Kansas and the top line is where you want to be. You see a lot of drivers heading up to the top line. Was it the track temperature out there? Was it the fact that we're running during the day instead of the nighttime? Was it just the car, the setup itself that really made it seem like it was more of a bottom feeding type of track for once?
Yeah, I think the setup felt like I wanted to be loose, so I didn't want to burn the right rear up on the top line. I didn't get much time to practice, so I didn't really test out the top line, but I'm not that good on throttle discipline, so if I was up top, I would have been good for a lap or two, but then I would have been sideways and in the wall and probably in the infield.
Well, you're in the infield for a good reason here. You're in victory lane here tonight, so heck of a drive here. Great strategy, and you get the 010 Castrol Toyota to the top spot. So congrats on the win here tonight. Before we let you go and get out of here, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
I just want to, thank you, Carl. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you guys. Awesome league. I know David Tilford's part of it too. Thanks, David. No, it's good league, great guys, good group of drivers. Thank my wife, my two daughters. Everyone.
All right, buddy. We'll take some time to celebrate this one, and we'll see if you can figure out a way to go back-to-back when we head to Charlotte next week.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
That is your winner here tonight, the 010 of Cody Hemingway, getting it done. Thank you once again to everyone that tuned in here tonight. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe. Get you in touch with everything that Sierra has to offer. Thank you to Kim's Cups and More as the title sponsor here tonight, and everyone that helps the core series go around. Obviously, shout out to my fellow commentator up here in the booth, Jimmy. Certainly, as mentioned there by Cody, to Dave Tilford for everything that he does behind the scenes. And without him, it would be a lot more work on all of us here for sure. But definitely thank you to all the fans that keep coming out here to see her. And we are certainly not anywhere close to being done this week, as we got a lot more racing left for this week, and then even a lot more on the horizon for next week. But for myself and Jimmy here in the CRM booth at Kansas, we'll see you at the track.
Peace.